Welcome to the Inc. Productivity Tip of the Day. Today's tip: why it's possible for leaders to overcommunicate and teams still fail. An expert opinion by workplace performance expert, author, and TEDx speaker, Hannah Pryor. Here's a number that keeps me up at night: 86%. That's the percentage of workplace failures that researchers say can be traced directly back to poor communication and lack of collaboration. Yes, how leaders communicate matters that much. People spend billions optimizing supply chains, streamlining M&A due diligence, and rewriting performance metrics. But nearly 9 times out of 10, failure still traces back to poor communication and lack of collaboration, like a failed email thread or a confusing meeting. What's wild is that the biggest communication problems aren't happening on the front lines. They're happening in the C-suite, usually disguised as strategic complexity. When I'm keynoting for leadership teams navigating rapid change, a pattern I hear repeatedly is the quiet bewilderment over why their brilliant multi-million-dollar change initiative is grinding to a halt 6 months in. They've laid out the vision, they've given the rationale, and they've even used the word synergy the requisite number of times. Lo and behold, their workplace performance is sputtering. They feel like they've said everything, but nothing landed. What gives? I call this the clarity collapse. It's the point where executives confuse the sheer volume of information they communicate with actual influence. They mistake telling for communicating. The root of clarity collapse usually isn't a failure to understand the business. It's a failure to decide what not to say. It's the inability to distill the entire transformation down to one single, undeniable, and repeatable truth that every single team member can carry with them, from the mailroom to the boardroom. I recently coached the executive teams at a major biotech firm attempting a massive global overhaul of its operational model. We were in a windowless hotel conference room in suburban Orlando, sweating out a 3-day retreat designed to lock down their 3 core communication pillars for the change. The CEO had kicked things off by handing out a 92-slide deck and asking everyone to identify the 5 most pivotal slides. I watched the CFO stand up, still wearing an Apple Vision Pro headset because he was simultaneously tracking the closing bell in New York and trying to lead a brainstorm on the concept of co-creation. I had to stop the session. The irony was suffocating. Here they were, responsible for billions in research and development and critical decision-making. But they couldn't communicate the most basic message to their employees because they were drowning in their own data. They had weaponized complexity. This is where leaders forget that their job isn't just to design change, but to frame it for the people who must live it. If the team doesn't understand the simple why now and what next, confusion fills the vacuum. People start to fill in gaps with worst-case assumptions, slow decisions while they wait for more clarity, default to old behaviors that feel safer, quietly disengage while appearing compliant. Confusion is crazy expensive. The cost of a few vague emails and a muddy company meeting is far greater than the cost of relentless, specific clarity. You can't influence your organization if you communicate like you're briefing the Council on Foreign Relations. Your message must be easy to repeat, easy to remember, and impossible to misinterpret. If an employee can't explain the main objective of the change initiative to their partner over dinner, you've failed. In my work with leadership teams, I often push them to distill change into what I call a 3-word truth. The simple phrase that serves as a single point of performance reference. When the biotech firm finally stripped away the jargon and the 92 slides, their 3-word truth became future-proofing patient care. Everything, new software, departmental restructuring, headcount changes, had to connect back to that phrase. This one behavioral shift, the commitment to radical, specific clarity, is your insurance policy against the staggering 86% failure rate. It's how you restore trust and drive workplace performance during the messiest moments of change. Don't just tell your teams what you're doing. Give them the simple, sharp tool of the 3-word truth so they can slice through fear and confusion. That's how executives transform decision-making from a chaotic cascade of information into a focused point of organizational influence. Instead of working on your data, sound check your microphone. The goal is to get clear or get out of the way. That's it from Inc. You can find more expert opinions from today's top business coaches, thought leaders, and TEDx speakers at Inc.com. Come back tomorrow for another tip from Inc.